substantial benefits to not only their health, but their stress levels. And I liked how you picked up and spoke about, the environment. And I think one thing that's definitely very important in terms of stress is, you know, what you're surrounding yourself with, kind of what environment you're putting yourself in. And could you speak more about kind of how your environment can dictate your stress levels and, where the best places college students should put themselves when they're under stress and, what they should provide around themselves?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I guess you can go in a lot of different directions there. From the first thing that came to mind when you asked that is, who are you surrounding yourself with in terms of people, your friends? You want to surround yourself with people who are supportive, who understand you, who are, thinking along the same lines as you are. So, if you're thinking about being healthy and eating healthy and getting enough sleep and all those good things, and you're hanging around with people who just want to have pizza and go party, then you're going to have a problem. So, gravitate toward people who are thinking along the same lines as you are. But beyond that, there are a lot of things that you can do in the environment. For instance, just going out in nature, finding a park, finding some area that has, a green space, walking around, that is very calming. And that's something that you can do on your own or with a friend. I also find that I'm sure you've heard of therapy dogs. If colleges, oftentimes colleges have professors living in the area, and they might have animals, dogs or cats or whatever. And spending time with animals has been shown scientifically to really reduce stress, and it's just a very light, happy time for students to be able to, spend some time doing that. And then I would say what other kinds of environments? I mean, anything that makes you feel happy. I believe in taking breaks. So if you're somebody who used to do some art in high school, but you never do anything like that, maybe, find a place to go draw. Sit outside and draw some people walking along. Do something that just feeds your soul and makes you feel, like kind of brings you back to yourself. So really anything that where you feel calm, where you feel happy is a good place, is a good choice for you. Everyone's going to be different, but nature is really a big one. I really would recommend, getting outside, breathing fresh air, getting some sun, and just observing nature. It's really a wonderful way to feel less stressed.
I completely agree. That's great advice. I actually have a park near my house in Boston, a little outside the city, and there's a park focused around trees. It's actually from Harvard University. They fund it, and it's this beautiful place focused on trees, and that's kind of my place to always, whether it's run to or walk at. It's a beautiful place that I allow to kind of alleviate any stress and just become mindful of my surroundings and the nature around me. And I think it's truly wonderful, and all of us should have that go-to space that can always bring them to the most joyous times within their present moment. So I definitely agree with that, and I think it's great to have all these resources. And why don't you speak more about how someone who is in college and dealing with stress would seek out a resource, whether it's a health coach like yourself or whether it's a resource at college? What are those resources available, and how would one of them come in contact with you?
Well, I mean, most colleges have some kind of student health center, and often something particularly related to mental health. But what I've heard from many students is two issues with it. One is that there can be a long wait to even see someone. And secondly, that they're often disappointed that the counselor or the therapist that they're seeing, they are primarily interested in kind of, sizing up the situation and then possibly giving them a prescription for medication. And they're not really there to be a coach or be to, have an ongoing relationship with them so much. So, and I actually have heard that there are some colleges that are starting to bring in health coaches like myself, because I think the kids really need more to know that somebody's there that they can ask questions of and that they can really work through their issues with in terms of the health. Clearly, if somebody has, diagnosed depression or severe anxiety, a health coach isn't going to be sufficient. They should need to talk to a doctor as well. But what I do would certainly support them in addition to seeing a doctor. Okay. My program, by the way, is called Crush College Stress. That's kind of my signature program. It's a 5-session program that kind of covers everything that we talked about, but a lot more. And maybe I should tell you of some other specific stress tools that really can work for anyone. Okay. One of the things that I think is wonderful, and I don't know whether you've done it before yourself, is to have a gratitude journal. It's really important, especially if people are anxious and feeling stressed, to cultivate a more positive way of looking at the world, and to just change their way of thinking, which sounds kind of crazy, but if you practice it, you can do it. And one of the ways you can do it is by having a gratitude journal. And in the gratitude journal, you write down 3 things that you're grateful for from that day. And people often do it, at night before they go to bed. You can also do it in the morning and say 3 things that you're grateful for from the day before. Or you can even say 3 things that I'm happy about, expecting to happen in that day. Anything, you just have to come up with what you feel would work for you. But generally speaking, I would say 3 things that happened in the day that you're grateful for. And if you do that on a daily basis, you start to look at the world in a more positive way, rather than reminding yourself of all the negative things or things that you're disappointed about. You're writing down, and it's getting into your brain that, wow, this great thing happened, and I didn't even expect this, and this person said something nice to me, or I was acknowledged because I gave a good answer in class, or whatever it is. And it's also, if you put it in a journal form, it's something that you can look back on. So if you're having kind of a bad day and you think life isn't so good, you look back on that and you see all these positive things that have happened to you over the week. And it reminds you that life is good. I need to focus on the positive things rather than on the negative things. And that will definitely, steer you in the direction of not feeling so stressed and just being happier in general.
That's wonderful. I think gratitude is definitely one value that I've been able to really focus on and really learn a lot from. I think when I started to really become grateful for my surroundings and people around me, I really saw everything in a different light, and it was such a great kind of new change in perspective within my own life. I think gratitude is definitely one of, if not one of the most important things to focus on, and it's definitely something that I try to incorporate within my journaling as well. I found that morning journaling is the best for me. Getting right up in the morning, waking up and just jotting down my thoughts always provides a nice release of any stress and tension. So I definitely love gratitude, and I truly recommend that for anybody. But before I give you my last question for the episode, I want to just allow everybody to, hear any closing thoughts, any last tips that you'd like to give, as well as where they can find you and where they can get in touch with yourself to seek you out for coaching advice throughout college, or just to speak more with you and connect. So,
Okay. Well, two areas we didn't cover, and I'll just briefly touch on them. One is sleep. College students notoriously don't get enough sleep, and that affects everything, and particularly mood. Your body just needs to regroup and clean out, and if you don't give it enough time at night, then you wake up and you're just kind of in a fog, and you don't feel good, and you don't have the energy that you need. So I do spend a fair amount of time in my program working on creating a sleep routine that works for someone, and it's very individualized depending on their schedule and so forth. But there are some kind of basic things that people need to do, which is make sure the room is very dark, keep your cell phone away from your bed, make sure there's no light. I already said that. Make sure there's no noise in the room. Make sure it's not too hot. Just kind of some very basic things. But you can really improve the quality of your sleep, and that will really help you with your mood as well. And then the other one is exercise. I've heard doctors say that exercise is just as good as taking Prozac or another antidepressant. It just naturally creates the endorphins in your body and makes you feel happy, and it obviously is good for your circulation and your heart and so forth. But it has a huge effect on your mood. So if you're someone who thinks that they don't have time to exercise, I believe that you can do exercise in a short period of time, even in your dorm room, and I have helped people with that. So there's really no excuse. And if you start doing it and it becomes a habit, you'll realize how much better you feel. So that is definitely worth working on. Those are the two things that I think we didn't cover at all. So I wanted to mention that.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Dale. It's truly been a pleasure having you on here. And for my last question, I just want to pose, if you were to have one piece of advice, one statement, one notice, one message to college students, what would it be? And, what kind of message do you want to send to them to focus on their own health and reduce their stress levels?
I guess kind of going back to the beginning, I really want them to realize that they have power, that there are lots of habits and tools that they can use that will reduce their stress, and that's really what I'm teaching. Because so I don't want I want them to know that it's not their fault that they're feeling this way. College is stressful. That's just the way it is. But there are ways to make it so much better, and if you learn them, you're gonna feel happier, because you're gonna feel like you have control and you can make the right choices for yourself, and have a much better college experience. And as I said, my program is called Crush College Stress. You can email me, Dale Troy at crushcollegestress.com. My Crush College Stress website is being revised, so I'm afraid if you went there, you wouldn't see anything. But if you go to www, and you'll have to put this in the show notes, it's called transformyourhealth.com. That's my umbrella company. That will bring you to a webinar where I explain what I do. And you can also set up an appointment to talk to me. So
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I really hope that everyone will gain substantial insight into this podcast episode, and I truly appreciate you for coming on. We'll have all the details below for you to get in contact with Dale and hear more. This has been another episode of Mental Insights Podcast. You can follow my social media at CatulliB on Twitter and Instagram. You can reach out through me at Brendan Catulli at LinkedIn, and I'll have links to all podcast episodes and my website as well, brendancatulli.com. Thank you for listening.